Hi guys, hello, how are you?
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Very
Radmila.
well, thanks. Hi, Radmila.
Great to see you again. We have a lot of partners and some new faces as I can see. So,
My face isn't new.
sorry?
My face isn't new. I'm an old man.
New to me.
Your jacket looks new.
Samuel,
Great,
listen, I'm already married.
great. All right, great guys. So nice to meet you. For those who don't know me, my name is Radmila, and I would like to suggest a topic for today, for today's talk, which has to do with technology. So I don't know what your experiences are, but I would like to raise that question. First of all, what, in your opinion, what technology? First of all, what technology in education do you know? What have you seen present in the classrooms nowadays? Who would like to give it a go?
Well, the most famous one is like Kahoot, right?
Kahoot, yeah. What is it for?
It's for, I think it's for learning, but you can use it for review and for wrap up. And it's very, very engaging because the kids have their phones. They can create their own as well. So it's also, you can use that for them to learn. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's different. Although some students hate Kahoot. And then there's another one called Quizlet, which is even top because it works with teams. So they have to work with like 4 phones at the same time. It's much more competitive. And you can also create your own. I think it would be like a different approach to learning using technology in the classroom. It's fun. You can even do it online. Like everybody at their homes, the Kahoot thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some students don't like Kahoot. I don't know
So
why, but
for those that who are not familiar with Kahoot, we're talking about an app that allows people to do quizzes, right? And teachers to do quizzes. Okay, fine. So in your opinion, Georgina, has it revolutionized education?
well,
Does it provide a transformational experience?
let's say that it is a new experience for sure. It is
Yeah.
adapted for sure. It is collaborative, and this makes a very, very big difference. It is gaming, and also makes a very, very big difference. But I think it would just be another tool. So it's very, it's innovation.
Yeah.
But it's yet another tool, another system to be exposed to the content, to revise. I don't think the guys can actually learn on, well, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
That would say this
why not? I think, well, yeah, they will have fun, they will learn, of course. But let me ask the rest of you, who here has ever used Kahoot or something similar to Kahoot, which is an app for quizzes? Anyone?
No.
Yeah.
Never.
Never. Okay, so Lucas has never used it. Henry
I've
has.
used it.
You've used it.
Sorry. Yeah, I've used it, but as a student, not as a teacher.
Yes.
Normally, from what I've seen, Kahoot is mostly used as a way to play games in the class, not necessarily something that is, or in my experience, is not necessarily something that's geared towards like a serious exercise, more of a, let's have fun and learn kind of stuff.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, Henry, tell us about it.
Yeah, I was exposed to Kahoot a few months ago when I started working as an ELA teacher for a United States, for an American institution, and they use Kahoot, vocabulary, Quizlet. But from what I can tell, and from my perspective, these are tools that are helping brick and mortar teachers to make the swap to online teaching, because I've been around for 6 years on cyberspace, and these tools were already here in the means of platforms. So I usually use many camps. So technology is helpful. Manycam is powerful when it comes to teaching very young learners of English. And those tools are, for me, on one hand, they are starting to be used from those teachers that are making the switch, and on the other hand, these Manycam stuff or OBS, they're being used a lot when it comes to teaching vocabulary and very young learners of English.
Okay, Henry, thank you. Any other tools that you guys are aware of for the classroom?
So, Mina, when I teach, I sometimes share my screen with my students and go onto a website called ESL Galaxy, and they have a bunch of games that you can play, grammar games and language games and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's fun. I also use Manycam with my students to do fun things like this, to grab their attention, or to do something, to put a picture on the screen, or however. So I use Manycam and that website.
Okay, right. Okay, so fantastic. Any other technology that you have used, guys?
I used one that
Sorry, I'm talking.
I used one that I love. It's called Jeopardy Labs. And they went to teams, and well, actually there was two. There was called one Jeopardy Labs, and the other one I don't remember, but it was like the Jeopardy game, and then they had the little boards, and we ran the mini board. And then there was one I really liked that was called something Garden, and it was to create like word clouds. And I really liked that for vocabulary, because from their mobile phones, they would just send words to the system. It created something like visually beautiful, artistic, and I use that for vocabulary. Yeah.
There was another, thank you, Georgina. Another partner was speaking, but I don't know, I couldn't see her name.
Me. Azra.
Azra, yes. Hey.
Hello. I use something called WordWall, which is a similar platform that was discussed before. A lot of the kids, what a teacher can do is they can create a game, and it is very creative because it allows different types of games for the same amount of material that you're putting in. For example, if you're using vocabulary, you can play kind of a quiz show with the vocabulary, or you can do a matching game with the vocabulary. You can just apply different types of games to that same set of words.
Can I, guys? Sorry, Azra. As you speak, can you type the name of the apps that you are sharing, that you're explaining? Okay. So, the one that you're explaining, it looks great. So, Georgina, Henry, Monique, can you guys write these apps that you are aware of? Yeah, thank you. In the chat. Sorry, Azra, continue. Yeah, please.
Sorry, I raised my hand. I wasn't trying to do that. Also, I've used like a smart board in the classroom. So it was very, where kids can come up and touch the monitor screen, and then you would have lessons on the screen where kids can spell words, or they can rearrange, do word order, and it allows the kids to really engage in the lesson and to utilize different types of learning styles as they engage in the lesson. So that was very, very fun for the students. Very fun for them. They enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys. I will include all these, after this webinar, I'll make sure that I include all these apps in the blog that I will post about the meeting. So if you can share these tools, it would be great. Greatly appreciated, so that everyone can can eventually end up using them. But what catches my attention is that many of you are missing or have been missing and have incorporated these applications because they provide a different way of teacher-student interaction. Yeah, so that gamified element, that fun element, is very necessary. Yeah, so you've been missing it, you've incorporated it. That's great. Now we have games in the classroom. What else do we have in the classroom, or what other technology has been, has been fully incorporated in the classroom, apart from apps for games? Anyone?
Well, you can use songs, for example. You can sing songs, depending on the age of the child. Yes, you can, yeah, for example.
Okay, okay. Was that Hiba? Was that you?
No, with
Yeah.
me, Carla.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you have videos nowadays. Lots of materials are taught through YouTube videos, or you have access to many of these.
Videos. Okay, so we said Carla, who said songs, and then we have videos. Okay. Bill, you have raised your hand. What? How about you?
Yeah, I was excited to hear about those apps and how they might be used. When you put them down in the blog of today's meeting, will there also be a reference, as much complete reference, so how we can, access them? Are they just available on an app store, or
Okay.
So that information would be helpful in case it's not available, because I don't know these.
Okay, I will make sure to include that. No problems. Yeah,
Okay.
especially I will approach the teachers that have used it to give us some pointers, yeah, on how to the best usages. Fantastic.
Great.
So if you guys can write it down, that would be greatly appreciated. All right. So all in all, games is the one thing that has been incorporated, but now. And it is transformational, of course, it is innovative, it is transformational. But apart from that, we have, we've been witnessing big transformation in society that are not so present yet in education. Do you guys know why, or can you guess why? What is your guess? Why do we still have a little bit of a conservative sector? Henry, what do you think?
Well, from my perspective, I think that brick and mortar teachers were used to a kind of discipline in the classroom that is really quite different from what you can see in online learning. I can give you an example. When I'm teaching my K-12 students, they're wearing caps, and yesterday one of them had a toy pocket knife. So what am I going to do with that? I'm not going to call the cops. But the question is, for example, classroom discipline. The use of technology and how to behave. What kind of policy can we establish? I'm talking about, of course, young learners. When we talk about adults, we also can't establish the same rules and the same patterns because there are so many distractions nowadays. So that's what I can tell about that problem. We might have a conservative attitude because of that environment in the past.
If it was up to you, what would you change?
I would try. I've already written articles about this, and I would definitely try to help brick and mortar teachers if they're making the switch, because I can tell, that's my perspective, online education is the future. Learning languages through cyberspace is actually the way to go, because we really don't know where the world is heading because of the pandemic, and we really need to help them see that technology and discipline and policy and behavior in the classroom in the virtual environment is a little bit different. So I'll try to help them with articles, with training.
Yeah, the world is changing not only because of the pandemic, but where it is heading, we will see in a minute. Yeah, we will see that. We're going to envision the future. So, Georgina, before we do that, what's your idea?
You were talking about, like, I think discipline, but I think when we're in a classroom, when we're teachers, we're teaching two types of things. One would be sort of like the technical aspects of learning a language, and the other one would be all these aspects of how to behave. I can only talk about my experience, and my students always said, in your classroom, everybody can do what they want, but everybody knows what they have to do. So that discipline, I don't think rules is the correct way. Maybe it would be guidelines, but how wild it can get, which is possible, that has to be like moderated and conducted in another way. And I think the relationship we have with the students is going to eventually develop this atmosphere of, hey, you can have fun, you can enjoy, and you will learn, but there is a limit. I don't know. This idea popped into my head.
Okay.
In terms of like moderating, especially when you were like, it's like musical instruments. They've got their phones, so the moderator has a big role there, and to use technology responsibly.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, and very true. So yet another trend in education to go towards students being responsible in their learning, and that somehow changes the relationship between teachers and students. So, Tommy, how about you? What do you say?
So in this case, I think, yeah, what Enrique said, the industry is changing a lot. There's a lot of development going on. And I would also, like Georgina, not say discipline, but mutual respect instead. Because the students need to have respect for the teacher, and the teacher needs to have respect for the student as well, for the relationship to be beneficial in both ways. And if you don't have that, I don't think you could teach that particular student you don't respect. Yeah, I think it would only grow to be a waste of the student's money, your time, and your good mood. And other than that, in this part of the pandemic, as I've seen, human society is progressing towards the digital schools, digital, the digital world, in fact. And with the appearance of the internet in the last 20 years, it has grown to be everywhere. So you can literally go to a village in Africa and they would still have internet. So it's important to keep a good image as well. That's what we do with promotion. We don't just spam randomly. We actually offer a service that could be beneficial for us and for the students. So we have to maintain a positive outlook towards everything. And we have to have good feedback from our current students, which is very important. That's why we have a feedback section.
Yeah, and this is as well thanks to technology that we have all this direct feedback. Absolutely. Yes,
and,
absolutely.
I would also add that technology is developing, and that we need to develop with the technology. We need to start using a lot of new things in our teaching. Like we should update every month, use newer devices. For example, I have recently bought a 3D printer so that I can have more props when teaching kids, K1 or K0. So it's important to adjust to the student's need, but it's important to adjust to your own needs as well. So that would be my 2 cents on this matter. So sorry for talking too much.
No, thank you. That was great. My only reflection on that would be, again, the question always is, These are aids, and of course they help you a big deal, and they make things more appealing, no doubt. But up to what extent it has been transformational? Let me just put some examples, and I'll share my screen now, because I would like you guys to we together to reflect on just a series of processes and results that have to do with education, with technology, sorry. Whether we have it or not will make the whole difference. So what I mean is that technology allows to innovate. Now, innovation means to change for the better, usually, yeah? So we have more fun in the classroom, we have better interaction, etc. But above all, it has to improve processes, results, and eventually lives. And let me insist on that. When we talk about improved processes, results in lives, I am not thinking only of students, processes, results in life. I'm thinking of teachers, teacher and students, processes, results in lives. Yeah, because sometimes it feels that this technology or these tools are great. They bring a lot of fun for the students. It's always for the students. And there is very little, and we'll see, I will insist on that idea, very little transformational change for the teachers. So when we talk about incorporating technology and tools, for instance, more than just games, which is great. I love games. We have it in our application. But more than that, what technology allows us is to change the way we relate elements. So for instance, let's take the example of technology of big data. Technology of big data allows you to change the processes. So a process that will change immediately when we use technology of big data is that we're going to be able to measure better the progress of students and identify gaps. So this process dramatically improves and is directly related to the technology of big data. Yeah. So it's not a game. It's an algorithm. It's science, but it immediately impacts in the process of identifying students' needs and acting upon them. Right. So this process is immediately changed. Now about practices. So if we have this technology and we can change the process, then we're going to change our practices. So instead of me lecturing you, I will be able to interact better with you. So my practice as a teacher in the classroom will be different, significantly different. So I'm not going to waste time. I'm not going to ask you. I'm not going to correct homework. I'm not going to even assign homework. I'm going to directly change my habits and my practices and the students' practices towards something that is more individualized in the first place and that uses their time better. Okay? And that will also impact in the next stage, relationships. And you kind of mentioned it. We have to respect each other and that's it. But I understand respect as acting upon your needs. And it's not because I'm going to ask you what do you need and you're going to tell me, because sometimes students don't know what they need or what their gaps in knowledge are. But I do. Why? Because I have the tool. So my relationship will change to something that is more straightforward, targeted at them, attending their needs, and also because they will know as well what their gaps in knowledge are, they will be more responsible for their knowledge. How? Because again, technology will allows us to provide a game that again adapts to their learning. So this is something that will change dramatically. Not to mention that when we work collaboratively, which is again thanks to tools, we will see it in the next image, we can, the same amount of teachers can teach many more students. Or the other way around, many more students can learn from many more teachers. The next stage that, or the next thing that will change is definitely the format and the context. So the long, groups, they are no longer necessary. One teacher and 20 or 30 kids or students, this is going to disappear. The format will change. Now, right now, we have in Oxinity shorter classes, but more effective. Why? Because we've eliminated everything that doesn't require a teacher. So the format has changed to something more participative, more dynamic, and faster pace, faster practices. And of course, the results are different. The results are completely different. Why? Because the first thing that we changed is the incorporation of a tool we didn't have before, or technology we didn't have before. So because we've used different technology, we have a whole lot of changes, and these are transformational now. Yeah, we can have the game, we can have the fun, we can have the pace, we can have the collaboration, and we can have completely different results because of it. And when we talk about the greatest contribution of technology, again, I split it into three main fields. Teachers have to have a better life, students have to learn faster and better, and education has to evolve collaboratively. Not right now. Remember from last talks we were talking about the teacher being still, my home is my castle or my fortress. Yeah, well, but right now the new era requires new solutions. So all this global transmission of experiences from teachers to teachers, this is what is going to make education evolve eventually. And if I have to represent it graphically, the first picture here is what we know as traditional learning. And it has been ongoing for 200 years now. We can still have this graph or this representation in many places. Well, unfortunately, I don't know. But we have it. Right now, for instance, a class in any school has that representation. One teacher, a lot of students. Now, in some places, we have transitioned because we have, these new ideas and people innovating. We have transitioned to the second graph, the one in the middle. And there are many schools right now that talk about project learning or task-based learning. And they focus on students collaborating. We group students, they collaborate. But again, they're guided by one person. Now, what we say is that in the future, we have to reach a model of teachers and students collaborating. And this model has to be under a coordination of the teachers. So we have to take this technology and use it so that we provide better coordination and better collaboration of teachers, so that each one of you guys can cope with a lot of students flexibly, and the other way around, a lot of students could be guided by a team or a group of teachers that work collaboratively, that are coordinated. So this is the idea that we think this is how we can use technology. Are we there yet? In Oxinity, this is our idea. Does the world know about it? Well, little by little, we will get there. But this is how we would like to use technology eventually. This is it. This is the main purpose of technology. Philip, I can see that you have a question. You've raised your hand. A comment, a question?
Yeah, actually, it was to comment on what Tommy was saying, and I guess we've run out of time for it. I just wanted Tommy to elaborate a bit more on what he was saying about this idea of respect.
Yes, very important.
He had a great comment there. Can you hear me, Tommy? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. So, respect is a very wide term I've used in this sentence, but I was thinking about, when I said it, I was thinking about respecting each other's persona, like treating each other with full respect. Like I noticed a few times in my, well, not so brief and not so long teaching career that some teachers were treating learners who did not know the language a bit differently than they would treat a native speaker. And in that moment, when I first realized that, it occurred to me that we don't actually respect the students. Most of us kind of respect the companies we work for and treat students sometimes, not all of us, of course, sometimes treat them like only profit makers. And in my opinion, we should always consider students to be above us one level, because they're trying to learn something that we already know, and they're using us to learn that. So we're basically employed by the students. And if we realize that, I think the mutual relationship would change, and we would like get off our high chairs and like understand that we're being paid to do a service, and not to share our knowledge, but to teach somebody what we already know. There's an old Latin saying, I don't know it in Latin, but I know it in English: those who can't do teach. And I'm pretty sure all of us here can speak either English, Spanish, or Catalan, or French, but not all of us could be effective teachers. So the idea of respect would be...
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's funny that it's the thing that's the most obvious, and yet it's something that I find many teachers just don't understand. That of course we're making money from our students and our clients, but our students are more like a responsibility if we're to take our profession seriously. And I just wanted to say that I think there's also a difference between the fact that this discussion, that there's a difference between those who volunteer, like I get people who volunteer from their companies to take lessons from me, and those who are mandated to come to the classes because of obligations in schools and so forth. So I find that the dynamic between the respect is very different between the two. That I often get students who are coming to volunteer, and I'm not really sure how it would happen if someone is mandated to be there, how the respect relationship is different. I think those who volunteer give me an incredible amount of respect. Those who I think who are mandated, I guess many of you guys are dealing with students that way, so I don't know how the respect idea works there. I don't know. Did they have to gain it? Did they give it to you automatically because you're a teacher? Or because it's online, they think it's more of a game, it's more fun, and it shouldn't be taken so seriously. So that's one thing that Enrique was also talking about as well, with regard to this online thing, the going into schools and as an online teacher, that is there something there that's happening with regard to the respect idea. I think it's a very, very great topic.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very interesting, and requires no technology, right? So for that innovation, we don't need any technology. We just need to change our mindset. But another thing is needed as well. And I will, Tommy, allow me to disagree with you, although it's brilliant what you say, just in one point. I firmly believe that any person can be a great teacher. This is the only thing that the only aspect, because if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't do what I do. But I've seen absolutely transformational examples of teachers that were not aware before, and they are aware now. And why did that happen? Because it is our purpose to help them be the best teacher. Everyone can do it. Believe me, guys, everyone can do it. It requires, Do you know what it requires? Collaboration. That's it. Yeah. Collaboration between you, so that those who are not there yet learn from the best. But before we go, I want to give Mari Carmen the possibility, and then Georgina, because they've raised their hands as well. Go ahead, guys.
Hi, I would like to add a little something in parallel to this. We're talking about respect and collaborating, and I think maybe it's worth talking about respecting and collaborating with the system in terms of there is a reason why the system has a half an hour class. There is a reason why we can't use more than 2-3 minutes for the yes/no questions, and there's a reason why we want to do structure, vocab, and topic. So if teachers and students collaborate, it's fantastic, and I agree with it all. But teachers are the ones that need to coordinate the collaboration with the system that has been carefully designed. So I think it's worth just going through that again, because sometimes it could be a little bit tempting to go back to the old model of initiating the class with more talk than needed, or even translating, which is the worst thing we could do. So I just wanted to add these words, collaborating and respect for the system as well.
We take them. Brilliant. Many
Brilliant.
thanks for that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Since I'm quite new here, I would say that, yeah, I agree with Mari Carmen. I think that was Mari Carmen. And
Yes.
I would like to say that, yeah, I sometimes have issues with the transition through the system because I'm not used to it, but I'm still learning.
Well, but we're here to help you. So all in all, if we go back to the formula where we are all collaborating, yeah, you will see how that will change. I mean, with newer partners or newer teachers, that they're tempted to be a little bit more, to do the talking, yeah, so to speak, to do the talking. That with some experience, you will get there. Yeah, don't worry. Right. Okay, guys. So that was great. Any other questions or comments before we move to growth on your part?
No, just want to say thanks, Tommy. Thanks for the reply. It was very good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, actually. Yes,